Hello and welcome to this introduction video to Coiffure. In this video we talk about hair strand, and you will see what I mean later on by hair strand. So let's get to it and start with the description of what we are doing here. So as you can see here, I have a scene. It's a scene from a hairboard tool project that you will see later on, but I open it right away because I wanted to show you what we are looking for when we are talking about Strand library and how to work with Coiffure. So basically this type of scene, you might have already seen it, or even I guess I've done one before, or a couple of them, depending. It depends. And the idea is like it's a workflow that is commonly used nowadays, and it takes Xgen to generate believable and realistic hair on a texture that you can bring later on a texture. And the idea is like you will bring your and create your strand, align them to a camera like this one here, and bake the texture out of it. So that's something that you can learn from different people. For example, here we have a breakdown of a character from Vadim Soresi, who was like one of the people who helped me when I created the tool. And if you see his character, this one is like marvelous, and he talked about the hair work. And as you can see here, when it comes to texture, he decided to use Xgen, and that's the kind of workflow that people use, and you can learn from different people who made tutorial about it and breakdown. So this tutorial is not about how it's not about how to make this type of hair, but more how to use this knowledge to get the best of Coiffure's features. So we will talk about Strand library during this video, and the idea is like, if you see here, we have like a bunch of buttons here. They have different colors, and let me show, they refer to categorization. So here we have like long strand, so if I just click on this one, I can hide this one. We have small hair, short hair, we have medium strand, we have flyaway strand, we have beard strand, we have fur, eyelashes, eyebrows, and each of them have a color. And the idea is like you will create different strand and try to get the biggest library as you can, or it's not like a goal, but the more depth is your library, the more possibility you will have later on. And the idea is like, if I show you here, I can select one of those strand here, and I will import it in my scene. So let's select this one here, just a tiny hair, but as you can see here, I can import this one here, and if I update my view here, it will be imported. So that's the idea. You will create a library of strand. Basically it will come with some strand when you will get the tool, but afterwards it's your job to create them and how to create them. So let's get back to the main window, so we can just click on this close button or just load the tool and you will get to this interface. So let's create one. Oh sorry, I misclicked. So let's create one, and we will create like a long one, and we'll call this one like straight one branch. Okay, why straight? And so I didn't know how to name the strand. I tried to find an idea on how I can make something clear and consistent. So I just googled things, and I find out in the Wikipedia page for hair that some people try to make some categorization of hair types. So you have this one here, which is available in the help, and you can find it on Wikipedia, but basically it's based on this guy Andre Walker's, and it gave some indication of type of hair, like straight, minimal wave, open wave, wavy, curly, zigzag, etc., etc. So you will be free to name it as you wish. But later on there is, as you might have seen on the UI, there is a search option bar. So if you type the name, you can find them faster. So we just create this one here like that. I will talk to you about those two lines. There are rotation and scalp parameter because we will create a scalp. At least Coiffure will generate a scalp, and those are the basic rotation and scale values. So you can adjust them later on in 3D, or you can do it before. It's up to you. So let's create this strand here. Okay, and so a new scene appears, and we have like three elements. In fact, we have a grid which have no purpose except than showing you a fictional UV card where you will lay out your strand later on. So the idea is like you should fit inside this grid to have everything at the same size and to work easily, because otherwise if you're making like very huge strand with tiny strand, when you will import it, when you will import them, you will have to rescale everything, and it's time consuming. So I think it's better to keep in mind that you have this scale here and work around it. Here we have something that I call a UV box. I will just add this one for now, and you will see its use later on in the video, and most importantly in the video about the airboard project. So let's add this one for now, and like that. So first of all, I will talk about some features that I created for to help you with Xgen and also with Coiffure to speed up your workflow, because we have to make so many redundant tasks in our work, and I try to speed up some of them if I could. So here we have this interface that allows us to hide, show various objects in the scene, the grid, the UV box, the scalp, etc., etc. And later on we will be able to show and display guides and description as well, and add guides. But also you can click on Control Alt and middle mouse button here, and you get this marking menu which appears just for Coiffure, and you basically have the same features like that. You can see, you can select description, select guide, etc., etc., and also some more possibilities like getting the scut brush, reveal the curves, normalize the guides, scale the guides, and scale the description as well. So you will see when I use them that some of them are helpful. They are all helpful, but you can use them or not, it's up to you. So let's create a description. Normally we should select this scalp, click on create a new description, the panel open, you have to set everything, but I just simplified this UI to a simple text field here. So let's create this one called base one, and let's create on hide guide. So basically it will create everything and name it correctly. By correctly I mean like there is a template around the whole tool, and so you don't have to care about it. Coiffure manage it by itself. But the result is like we have here a description here. We can select the description by clicking on this button. I will show you how does it work by creating a new one. And so if I click on this one and this one, you can see here, if you're looking right here, you will see that this description switch between base 1 and base 2, so it's easier to select them faster, at least because you don't have to go over there, or you can even use the marking menu for that. So if you go on base 1, you will say the base 1 and base 2 here. So basically it means like you can hide guides and groom your hair without leaving the viewport, and that's the biggest update I guess from Xgen, because Xgen is a marvelous tool, but also sometimes you have to do a lot of redundant tasks, and I just simplify them a bit. So let's get rid of this one because we won't need it for this example, and let's create some guides. So we can click on this one here and create a bunch of guides. So one other thing is like Coiffure will create a random color guide color, sorry, because each time you create a base description, new description, sorry, you will have a yellow color, and it's confusing to have everything with the same color. So I just, created default random color. Sometimes the color can be like a bit hard to see, so it's you can still adjust this later. So let's do some grooming here, and let's just do something very simple. As I said, the goal of this class of this tutorial is like, it's not a master class on how to groom hair with Xgen for games. It's about how to use this knowledge for getting the most out of Coiffure. I will release a tutorial. I will record it next week, so I don't know when it will be available, but you will be notified if you follow me on social network. But basically I will do my own tutorial on how to groom a 3D character, and it will use Coiffure, but not only Coiffure. So you will learn more about this workflow. But in the meantime, if you are curious, there is many people who did this work already, and also like there is lots of tutorial available, and you can still experiment, because you will see in my video a short a short example, but there is nothing like, it's always the same thing with different parameter, and you have to try them by yourself anyway, so that's up to you. So let's just sculpt those hair like that. So I will just make something like not anything fancy, like just a bunch of long hair like this. Just have like some random position, like just try them to go in this direction, and those two as well here, like this. Okay, so it could be also important to groom them in the Z direction, in the depth direction, because later on when you will create the height map texture or occlusion map, you can have some nice result depending on where the hair are from the camera. So you have some adjustment that you can make to get a better result. So that could be interesting to do it. And so as I was describing earlier, we can first try to add some guides, some density for our hair, and let's use this button here to get a better size. By better size I mean that I don't really like the default size from Xgen, so I just created a shortcut, and it might not be perfect for me, like it's not perfect right now, so I just tweak it a little bit more. And let me also check up for the anti-aliasing here, but it's I think a better presets to start with, and you can also add more subdivision. Also, so the more subdivision you have, the more effect you will have later on for the noise, for example. And one thing which worth notice if you're not familiar with Xgen is like you need to update your description every time you make some change. Or some are automatic, but most of the big one you have to update by yourself. And also you can do it with the tool like that. You can hide or view, and everything is linked together, so the interface is linked with the marking menu. And also, before I forgot, here we have I have a link for you, this guy here, Michael Goshi, sorry if I mispronounce it, his name. So gave a lot of good good advice if you are new to Xgen, and might be new to Xgen if you're working in game. It's not that common in game, except if you use the workflow that I'm talking about before. And he talked about different the way Xgen work. It's very interesting and very clean, very clear for a beginner with these examples. So if you don't know Xgen, it could be a good start. And also one thing that I would like to mention again is like Xgen is required to work with couple of files, and it will create files over your project, your default project, or your project that you've set earlier. And that's why in the when you try to launch Coiffure, you have to set a Coiffure project, so it will be basically a basic Maya project, but with some custom folder for Coiffure, and you won't have to care about, but it's worth knowing that it's needed. So you will get this information on this article on why it's needed to have this type of project setup. So let's add the guides, and let's add some modifier like that. So I will just add a couple of them, like a clump for basic for the base, and I will just use the guides to generate it. And yeah, it's view dependent the way you can update the hair, so sometimes you have to move your camera to get your result. And I will so as you can see here, the more I add some clump, the more stylized the hair will be, or at least the more they will fit my initial curve. So I will just make it like it's, if I can show you, like it's trying to somehow follow the guide, but not at 100%. And I will add a new groom, a new clump, there's too much different words. Okay, and I will generate new guides from this one here. Okay, as you can see here, they're generated intermediate clump to get more effect like that. So I adjust this like this, okay, and I might reduce that previous number like to 6. Generated. Save. Okay, so I like this one. I will add a couple of a bit of randomization, so like going here I had some curl effects, so let's bring this one up, and just like, so it's basically like twisting it to get this nice effect. And let's add some noise here, like, and we can add this noise a bit, just nothing fancy, just a little bit of it, and maybe I will reduce it this way. Okay, so I like the way, like, it's adding some more depth on this simple strand. And one thing that I can do is I can add a cut. So let's bring a cut here to randomly cut the hair. Okay, like that. And I might add another noise, but this one will be like, I don't know if you get the difference. I wouldn't know how to explain it, but this noise follow the guides, and it's basically like adding a noise on each clump which is defined by a guide. But this one is making noise for the whole hair, for every hair in fact. So I will add a mask on this one. So there is, if you go on load expression, sample, Xgen, water related expression, here we have like, if I go to noise, we have Vonoy quantize, and I be able to edit this mask here. So I will just add a bit of randomness here, and voila, to add more or less variation here. And I will just crank the parameter so we can see the effect. Okay, so I might just take this one at 2 and this one at no, it's too much here. And okay, so we just had a couple of it. Okay, but that's just an example, so you're free to do whatever you want. and I will just stop with this one here. I will just maybe add some more density. And also one thing that worth noting is like if I look at it from this direction, I will have my hair here, and if I look closely here, I can see that they are going from this point to this point. And so if we look at the texture here, or what it could look from a texturing point of view, you will see like it's at the bottom of the hair we have like a huge amplitude between the first one and the last one, and sometimes that's something that you could wish to have, like a clean and nice root that you want to show, for example for the hair which are at the base of the, like for example close to the ears, or you know, close to the temple, stuff like that. But in some case you don't want this, so you have two ways to actually correct this one here. So let's just showing you the first one here, which could be, so you will bring the scalp back here, and basically what we will do is like we will change the rotation here like that. I will just see my guides. So basically my guides like just rotate as well, and I don't want that. I want to bring them back here. And if I update things and I'm going from the point of view here, I can see that it's more you know, there is less amplitude, so I can, you know, play with this parameter. Like I can also, yeah, I just updated this one here, because you can update things from there and there. So I will just zero it out here. And so basically you have this option, and also you can reduce the size of the of where the hair will grow by creating a mask. So I will create a mask. It will, this one will be named like I will create this one like straight, so I will set this one to long strand, straight one branch. Okay, I will set it to black. And it's important to set to black because otherwise sometimes it can be like a bit of glitchy. So I will create this one here. At this point, I would really recommend you to save what you're working on. So we'll just save it. So I need to take a picture, but it's not an issue for now. And I will save it because from my experience, if you've seen my previous video called Air Apocalypse, when I was creating like lots and lots of hair using Xgen, and that's the moment where Xgen can crash without notice, and it's like so painful to, you know, get back to it. So you just select it back again, set up your brush here, and I will just, you know, add some basic thing, which is take this one. I don't want any fall off because I noticed that if you want to, for example, get rid of something, and you have to actually paint 100% zero information, and so if you have like some offset, sometimes it can be like starting to be like annoying when you want to make some adjustment because it's blending with other colors, and it's like it's just starting to be a nightmare. So I just put black color and I will paint yellow here, sorry, not yellow, white, and I will just do something like very simple here, but I could do something more advanced if we would like you know, adding like this and like that and like this and like that to get more variation. Once I'm ready, I'm going to save this one here, and if you see here, I see that nothing is outside of what I painted. So that's something that you can later adjust here with the density, get back to something we had before, and here you are ready to save this. But before you are saving this one, there is one more step here. You can select a shader. So basically you're not forced to use this step because you will later shade your description for the hairboard project, but I think it's like better to have like a basic shader. I don't know, I prefer to do it because most of the time I will be lazy, and I like to have like a default one, so I will just select a golden one and I will add this one like this. So you can adjust it by clicking on edit shader, and it will open the hypershade where you can tweak all the parameters. You can assign them manually by selecting something and clicking on assign, or as you see, you can use this drop down menu that will allow you to select a shader. And we are almost ready to save it. We have just one more step here, so I will just hide the guides, and I will also hide the scalp, and I will come back to this box. So this box is now rotated, so I will just bring it back, because that's one of the reasons where it could be interesting to start by actually giving proper orientation right away. You can fix it, because later on you will just care about the position of those points, but it could be easier for you if you get things on a consistent and logical. So I will just set my view to front view. Oh, what is this? There is a little come on, yeah, and just a glitch here. And basically what you would do here is adjust the size of the box so it fit, so the strand fit inside it, like that. And we'll see here, if I move them, I will just do something like that. And so this way, when we'll import a strand later on, we'll have this box already set up, and it will be easier for you to create UVs, and you will see in the next video what it means to have the UV box in shape. So that's it for this part. I will just remove the UV box here, and before saving we have to take a little picture of it, and it's because, as you've seen earlier, we have this item browser in the next tool, and it's better to have like a nice picture of everything to find things more easily. So that's it. We're happy with that. We're going to save the strand once again, and we can close this tool for now. But what if we would like to edit it again? So if you go on the strand editor right here, you could see that we can open every previous strand like that. So I will open it, and this one will be ready to be edited. So if I go here and I show the guides once again, I can for example, let's pick this brush here, and let's switch to 3D view here, and let's say okay, I want this. So let's update everything. So okay, I'm happy with that. I can now just save it, take a picture, and for every scene that I have and which use this particular strand, I will be able to reload them and to get a new up-to-date version, or also to, for example, cancel something that I would have done wrong, So that's the idea. I think I've covered everything for this part, except, as I said, how to make them. There is lots of things that you will learn in my tutorial later on, but for this part, for this overview of the strand library and the strand generator and editor, I think I've covered everything. So I'm waiting for you guys in the next video. Take care and have a good day. Bye.